Welcome back, dear listeners, to the Fright or Flight podcast, where we rank, review, and recap any horror movie in a given franchise. I am gonna toss it over to my pal here. We're beginning season 3. What is season 3?
Baby. We're on the third one. We're covering classic franchise Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I feel like I said that wrong.
No, you didn't. It's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay, I put the
Chainsaw
emphasis on the wrong word.
Well, chainsaw is split into 2 for this. I don't know why, because chainsaw is one word, is it not?
Oh, who cares?
I don't know.
But yeah, we're starting with the original 1974 film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
1974, directed by Tobe Hooper. Anyway, I'm Jeralyn, the Fright of the podcast. I do it every fucking time. I'm the Fright of the podcast because I love horror movies and it's my thing.
And I'm the Flight of the podcast. I'm easily scared. Did you know that?
I did know that. You told me that. And this is the reason that you were like, hey, you know what would be a great idea? Let's do a podcast together where we do this.
This one was scary. This one was legit scary. Like, I know I said last time that, what was it? Evil Dead Rise was the scariest movie we saw. This one is scarier.
You think this one's scarier?
This one is so spooky, especially the beginning. Oh my gosh. It really got me. You know what it really reminded me of, honestly?
What?
AHS, American Horror Story season
Yes,
2
queen.
intro. It looks like it's like a hidden like film that I'm not supposed to see at the very beginning.
It's supposed to resemble that, like real crime scene photos, because this is based on true crime.
And they have, that was nice. I like that a lot.
Thank you.
The flashing they had for like all the different like fingers and all the beginning.
Finger looking good, right?
No, that looked awful. I mean, that's probably what it really is back there in the kitchen at KFC. But,
Ew.
But yeah, it was so scary. I was like, man, I don't know what I'm in for.
It's such a fun movie. I didn't realize how much I loved it. I had watched it as a kid.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen it since. But I knew that there's no nudity or anything, and no sexual content, which is rare for a horror movie to not have those things in it. And I know that I watched it as a kid because, my dad was like, well, it's not inappropriate. You could watch it. And I was like, cool.
I watched this. I didn't realize how much like influence Texas Chainsaw has on like just
so many others,
pop culture in general. Mm-hmm. There are things I saw from this movie that I was watching. I was like, oh, it's from this. And I didn't realize at all. There's
so many things that Texas Chainsaw Massacre has influenced. It's incredible. It's honestly a staple. Back in the day, it was voted the second scariest film behind The Exorcist. Which,
really?
The Exorcist, I feel like you would be terrified of. You might have. I mean, I think it's personally. I don't know.
When did that one come out? Do you know?
1973.
Wow, so just a year before.
Yeah.
Well, I think this one. See, it's just we just covered the Evil Dead franchise with this Texas Chainsaw. Now, I was expecting it to go kind of campy again, just because. I think if it's older. It's into our 2023 eyes, it's going to look goofy.
Right.
But that wasn't really the case. This one was scary. This was still, you know what? If I had to describe this movie in one word, it'd be horrifying. Like, it's just really like upfront with you in like the like horror aspect kind of way.
Yeah, I agree. It's horrifying in so many different ways. I mean, the fact that it's based on a true story like that itself makes it a million times scarier to me.
So do you want to go ahead and elaborate on that? Like, I know it's based off, somebody, I think it was in Texas too, this man named Ed Gein.
Yeah, it was Ed Gein.
And I've heard a little bit about the story, but I'm not sure what is true and what isn't. What I heard, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong if you know or not, but what I've heard is that Ed Gein was this man who had this really deep connection with his mother. And when his mother passed away, he kept her preserved. Like he never buried her.
Right.
And he would like dig up graves, and he was just this really creepy guy that, and everybody in the town, knew him. I think it was a small town. And then one day he like cracked and he like killed one of the somebody at like a small store in a small city, small town. And then he was discovered. And when they discovered him, they discovered like all the messed up stuff that he had in his house. And then he went to jail. And then the townspeople thought, this house is made of evil. So they burned the house down.
Basically, yeah. There's nothing to add. Nothing to add. The game is so notorious that they made so many movies about this character in general. Like, he's influenced so many things. Obviously, we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so we have Leatherface because of him. Silence of the Lambs is based on him. I believe the character Buffalo Bill was based on him. Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho is based on
And that comes
Ed
from
Gein.
like his relationship with his mother is a big deal in that too, right?
Oh, yeah,
Right.
yeah, for sure. That movie's fantastic. We'll get to Hitchcock at some point. They're classic movies, and they're great. And then, of course, they also made a movie titled Ed Gein.
Really? Mm-hmm. Well, do you know when that one is?
I don't know. Let me do some sleuthing.
Because that sounds interesting. And I see, from what I explained, I'm not sure where I heard that before. I'm sure it was like some like podcast story or something.
2000.
2000. I wonder how that holds up. But I've never seen any of those. I've never seen Psycho or Silence of the Lambs or whatever.
Yeah, they're all really good. They all still hold up. They have a great reputation. Psycho has been remade several times, I would say. They even had
It was a TV show, right?
spinoff TV show called The Bates Motel,
Yeah.
which I enjoyed. It wasn't amazing, and after a while it got stale and was stupid, but I mean, that's how TV shows go. They take, creative liberties, so we can't really be mad at them for that.
I think we haven't gotten there yet. I think we haven't turned the corner where the podcast is absolute trash yet. But we're fast approaching.
We're fast approaching to trash,
Yeah, garbage.
I'm all about trash.
You love trash.
I love trash.
You're a
So does my
trash-
cat. So my cat's a trash cat too. So
I love it. But yeah, dude, I love all the sounds in this. Like, I think something about industrial noises mixed with like, there's like a radio broadcast at the beginning and like just wispy air is just spooky to me. It's so scary.
well, yeah. I mean, not to mention, they did shoot a lot of the sounds in an actual slaughterhouse.
Oh God.
Because there's not really like music in the movie, if you noticed.
Yeah, there's not a lot. No, there's barely any. And I think something this movie does well, and that you see in this beginning, these shots where like you only see like the fingers and stuff for like a second before it cuts away. And I think there's something to say about like the stuff that you can't see. I think the scariest things are the things that your imagination fills in the gaps of.
Oh, for sure. Because you're like, okay, I see this. I see all of it. For example, like when Pam is in the house later,
Right.
and she sees all these bones everywhere. First of all, the fact that she obviously they did it for the appeal to make it even more terrifying. So they showed like basically everything in the room.
Yeah.
But like it took a little bit longer than I would have liked. But
there is a comical thing about this movie that I will say. I think the beginning of the movie was the scariest part for me, if I'm being honest.
Okay. Yeah.
Like we see it like we see this
that kind of thing.
Yeah, that, and also this guy. The guy is just so creepy that I was like, oh man, this is scary. Like the hitchhiker they pick up. The middle of the movie, it gets kind of silly.
My favorite part is towards the very end, but we'll get there when we get there. I won't talk about it yet.
Okay.
But I just have to tell you that there's one part that I was like giggling at.
All right, I'm excited to hear what it is.
But anyway, so we are on this road trip with teenagers, of course, which all of these teenagers look about 40 years old.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
What do you think about what they're wearing? I thought about that a lot. This movie 74. I don't know if this is just like what they wore in 1974.
Yes. But so the women look fine. They looked cozy for the weather. They looked like they dressed for hot weather.
Okay.
The rest of the gentlemen, what the fuck were they wearing? They were like wearing long sleeve
The guy
shirts
wearing
and stuff.
the denim, he was like wearing all denim. I thought like, okay, he looks fine or whatever.
Yeah.
Franklin, he looked like he like was wearing like a work shirt or something, like he's a mechanic.
Yeah.
But I gotta say something about, I think his name was Jerry. So Jerry was wearing, well, first of all, style king. His hair, his glasses.
Slay
and
king.
he was wearing this like pattern button-up shirt with a collar.
Like,
and
I can respect the fashion, but
I looked at it and I was like, I could never wear this. Like, this would not work on me. Until halfway through the movie, then I changed my mind. I was like,
okay.
He's the drip king.
Yeah, look at him. The drip, the style. So we have Sally, Jerry, Franklin, Kirk, and Pam in this van together. And Sally and Franklin are siblings, which they look nothing alike.
Do siblings ever, though?
I mean, yeah. Yeah. Listen, I did this weird little like fun Snapchat filter of me and my brother. Well, of me. But it was like
Made
it
you a
had
boy?
me, with shaggy hair, kind of like yours right now. And it was like, and it made me look like a boy. And I was like, whoa, I look way more like my brother than I've ever given credit to.
You know what's funny? There's a filter. I did the same thing that makes me into a girl.
Okay.
And it made me look like my little brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is so funny to me because he has like really long hair and stuff.
Okay.
So I was like,
so yeah, like I think siblings do look alike. Typically, there's some semblance. There are some
but in
people.
movies, come on, you know, they're just two random actors.
I don't like it. I want people to kind of look semi-alike.
I just have to be told they're siblings, and I'm like, okay.
But Franklin is in a wheelchair.
You know, when I first saw that,
I like this aspect because one, you don't see that a lot in movies.
You don't, but I definitely was put on, like, I was like, ooh, 1974, you know, like this is probably not going to be handled well. But surprisingly, I thought, especially for the time, like him being in a wheelchair wasn't like they handled it as good as they could have, I feel like. So I actually don't mind.
Yeah, except for the fact that they were in the middle of fucking nowhere. And there were a lot of hills and rocks and things. And,
his friends weren't the most considerate.
Yeah, and then the wheelchair was definitely... It didn't look as sturdy as, like, wheelchairs do now. Mm-hmm. So I think that also did a disservice to him, as well as the treatment of his friends. Well, they weren't really disabled allies, so...
Yeah, they did pick on him, but I think that's the case that would be just regularly with like people, you know, friends. I mean, pick on each other.
But they didn't make it a thing. It was just like
there was I was thinking there was going to be something with like the killer, and like they were gonna like there's some aspect of him being in a wheelchair that would like be used for like shock value or something. Yeah. But they didn't do that, so I do appreciate that.
Yeah. But yeah, we have all of these people. So it seems we have like two couples and then the siblings. So it's Sally and Franklin that are siblings. Sally is with Jerry, which I thought was a weird pairing. I didn't think they looked good together. I didn't think that they...
What's going on here?
I felt like their chemistry didn't have any. I felt like she had more chemistry with Kirk. Because Kirk and Pam are also together.
Right. So I didn't think, if I'm being honest, there's not much chemistry at all.
Between any of the characters. Yeah.
I think the most fleshed out, definitely, out of all of these characters is Franklin.
For sure.
And the rest of them are just kind of there. You know, they're just kind of doing.
You don't really get the chance to get to know them like most movies. I mean, because they're meant to die off really soon, really fast. So, I mean, the only one you do get to know a little bit more is like, oh, okay, like you know that Sally and Franklin are siblings. That's been established, and they talk about it throughout this film. Yeah. But the only person who is questioning things and like being anxious is Franklin. Nobody else is.
Yeah, he's pretty... I mean, how about we discuss what are they doing here? They're all in a van, like in a Scooby-Doo van. In general, they're kind of like a Scooby-Doo crew.
Yeah.
And they're going... I think there's some news reports about bodies that have been dug up, so they're going to check on Grandpa's grave or whatever. A body has been discovered. And they go check on the grave. Everything's fine. Uh-huh. But when they get there, like all of them get out of the van. Yeah. And I see Sally for the first time. Okay. And I'm just like, wow, I like the color of her shirt. And I think we've discussed about it before, like about it being like a trope or whatever. But
with the nipples.
Yeah, very, as Tumblr would put it, front-facing nipples.
I mean, where else would they be? Well, I guess you could face them on the side.
Tumblr. I don't know why they mention it like that. But yeah, I they didn't do this with the other girl. The other girl, her fit, by the way, also fire. She could wear that fit. 2023.
She could totally wear that.
Yeah. Could you imagine being in a group of people and like all of you just are like all out 70s wherever you go?
Oh my god, I would love that.
In that like hippie van that they're riding.
I would freaking love that. Like I want somebody to go on a 70s road trip with me.
You think Patrick would wear that pattern shirt that Kirk was wearing?
Hell to the no.
No?
He'd be like, this is ugly as hell. I mean, I'm surprised that I'm getting him to wear a tunic shirt for the Renaissance Festival for me.
That's awesome.
I was honestly like,
so
my boyfriend's going to dress up with me?
This is so unrelated.
Yeah.
But if he will do that, do you think, by the time we edit this podcast, we can throw up a picture of this man? Do you think he'd be okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, sick. Look at him. Isn't he glorious? You were going to say something?
I don't remember. We were talking about their fits. That's what it was.
Yeah, and then they got there, and there's like a drunk on the floor, and he's like, I don't know what the hell he's saying. But he's drinking and he's like sprawled out on the ground.
Oh yeah. They get there and this guy is like, oh, this is an old man. Like he was like, of course, like slurring his words and shit. He essentially implied that something was wrong there. Things go wrong there, and nobody explains it. It was weird, but I was like, and Franklin's kind of like, because his friends forgot about him and left him in the van alone, which was really shitty.
And that happens a lot throughout the movie.
Happens a lot throughout the movie, poor guy.
Yeah.
And so like he's already kind of like, damn, my friends left me. But then he's like, okay, now that this drunk's talking, I'm just gonna revert back. And he kind of like scoots back, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah. Something else I want to mention about this movie is I love all the Southern accents. I love the representation. Like I feel like we don't get to hear, that on screen often. So I really like it. And I'm sure you, Jeralyn, appreciate that.
I fucking knew it.
As well.
No, I don't. Because I don't sound like that.
I'm not saying you do, but
do I sound like that?
As a Southern girl.
If you think I sound like that, I need somebody to comment.
It comes out sometimes for sure. I know you try to, like repress it, as deep as you can, but
I do.
Sometimes you can't help it, sometimes it just comes out. When Mama made that cornbread, then it just comes right out of you.
First of all, Mama ain't made no corn. Yeah. Can't even understand me. Fucking country. Can't. What?
No, another thing I want to talk about, Jeralyn, is
you have to cut all that out.
I want to know your experience with hitchhikers.
I've never picked one up, but I'm a very like caring, sentimental person. I feel like in my time, I've always thought, man, I wish I could just take them home wherever they're going.
Yeah, right.
But I've seen one too many scary movies, and I ain't doing that shit because that's how people get killed.
Have you ever been in that situation where you're walking and have you ever hitchhiked, or have you ever?
Never in my life.
No.
I don't trust people because of scary movies.
Anytime?
I am very hyper aware of people and their motives, and well, okay, I say that, but then like I have a terrible judge of character. I assume the best of everyone. So
yeah, I don't know.
I'm naive.
I've been on both sides.
You could easily get me, I guess.
Oh God, don't tell everybody that. I have had the experience on both sides where I'm like, when I'm walking somewhere in a long distance, I'm always looking at those cars and thinking, if they could just drive me 5 minutes, that would save like an hour of my time. And so I wish I could. I'm a shy individual, so I wouldn't ever do that anyway.
You wouldn't just do the whole.
No, I do like that. Maybe that's a bucket list item for me. Maybe it might be the last one on my list because it might be my end. But depending on who picks me up, True. But I have taken several strangers home, and I think
really
several. And I think that
I've done it with work, like at my workplace, like barely knowing these people, and they were like, "Oh, I'm just gonna walk home." I'm like, "Hell to the no, I'll take you home."
The story I always tell everybody, just because it's the most like shady one that I've done, is like one time I was coming home from work. I used to be a dishwasher, so I'd come home like 2 a.m, 3 a.m, after work. We're the last ones to leave, so I would be on my way home. It's 2 a.m. I have to go get gas, so I go get the gas, and there was a gentleman who was like, shouting all this stuff, leaving the store at the gas station while I was pumping gas. And he approached me and he said, "Hey man, I gotta get out of here. The people here, they're trying to get me into a fight. I just got out of prison. I'm not trying to go back, man. I just need a ride right around the corner, man." And he was telling me that. And so I did. I gave him a ride to his house at 2 a.m. in the morning. And it was a little out of my way, but
you're doing the Lord's work.
And whenever I'm coming home from work now, I work morning shift now. I get off at 4 p.m. I still do the same thing. If I see somebody walking, I think to myself like, man, I really want to give them a ride home, even though I can't. And I usually don't now, just because I have like other priorities, because I have to do something, eat dinner, get dinner ready, all that kind of stuff. And then I feel bad for not taking him home. I do too. I do feel bad because I'm like, I saw this person, around where I work, because where I work there's like a large homeless population. There's large homeless populations in a lot of big cities, but in particular where I work, it's ridiculous. But I saw this person off to the side, and I couldn't tell if they were just a pedestrian or something, and they were like, they looked like they were wincing in pain, like they were like bent over, like holding their stomach. Ouch. And I wanted to stop to check on them, but I was at a stoplight and the light turned green. But I was like, I also don't know people, and I don't know what they're going to do. It's so, you're right. It's hard. Because ultimately, you got to look after yourself. I mean,
with me being a woman and you being a minority, like you just never fucking know.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, you guys just got to play it safe, you know. I wish things weren't like that. I
also wish.
I wish we could just trust people. It's something
I wish
think
it was
a
all
lot
hearts
of the time.
and rainbows and butterflies and unicorns, but it is not.
Exactly. But they pick up this fellow, and he turns out to be a creep.
Yeah. I didn't remember how he did this. I didn't remember this whole scene. I'm good, if I'm being honest. So this was like a refresh for me because I have seen the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre so many times. And this scene is very different in that movie.
Interesting. I'm excited to watch that then.
Oh my God, it's so good. So good. Anyway, this scene, I didn't remember it being this way. But like, first of all, he's all talking about like the way that they slaughter animals, being all graphic and weird about it. And he's like, oh, they don't do it good anymore because the animals basically don't suffer. And I'm like, what a shitty person. Like, you want your animals to suffer? Like, I feel guilty eating meat, but I still eat it because it's delicious.
They reference that. Like, I think, you know, in general, if people had to kill their own animals to eat their meat, or if people just had to like see what happened to the meat they're eating, like the cow, how they got slaughtered, I think most people would, you know, be adverse to the whole thing. But I want to talk about that because, like, you know, he shows them pictures of like
that's fucking gross.
And we eventually learn that he doesn't even work there. He sneaked in there to take pictures of like these cows and then how they butcher them.
I don't like that.
Me neither. And he shows it to them, and you know, Franklin seems, you know, he's interested in like how this process works or whatever. The girls are kind of grossed out, and it reminds you of being on the internet, like as a kid, and coming across like gory, like real life stuff. And I am so adverse to that. Like, I like don't like any of that stuff. You know, there's all this awful things about the internet about like just photography of like accidents or like executions. You can find that easily online now.
You know what's crazy is like there's not really a because of the internet. There's not a boundary, it feels like, anymore. Like,
no, and I think it's really problematic for kids to find that kind of stuff because it haunted me.
I got a funny story for that because as a child, you know those Disney Channel games that we would play online?
Yeah.
So I was obsessed with the Lizzie McGuire games. Those were the best ones to me.
Okay, Lizzie McGuire.
So I went to go type in Lizzie McGuire games on my mom's computer. And I misspelled McGuire because I was a child.
Okay,
misspelled McGuire.
Hard to spell.
I spelled Lizzie McQueer. And a big catalog of women's boobs just popped up, and my mom was like, "My baby," and like came and covered my eyes, and I was like, my heart sank. I felt so anxious because I was like, "Oh my God, this is not Lizzie McGuire. This is not Lizzie McGuire."
Isn't that so interesting? Like, we can tell, like doesn't matter what age you are, like when something is like in like just of a different nature that you're not supposed to see.
I guess like I knew I was not supposed to see that, but I also messed up because I couldn't spell. So kind of a double-edged sword, but I mean,
the internet is crazy.
It is crazy.
And like I was saying, like I'm so adverse to all the, you know, the awful things that like now I try to be like extra safe. Like I try, like if I see anything that's about to be like bad, I like try to scroll away. And I'm the same way with a lot of things. That as spoilers, I'm the same with like there's a new Zelda game that just came out, and if I see something that's like just half a second of Zelda, I just scroll. So because
you can do that. Spoiled. There's some websites will let you have like keywords that you can like block. I know Twitter does that because whenever Spider-Man No Way Home,
right,
or the newest one,
that's it.
When that came out, I didn't want to see spoilers for it. Or Stranger Things season 5, I didn't want to see spoilers for it, so I would like block those keywords.
Have you ever been spoiled by a movie like on Twitter or anything?
Yes, and it pissed me off.
What movie was it?
It was actually for Stranger Things, if I'm not.
Oh, wow.
And that's when I started blocking it because I was like, I don't want any more spoilers. But I saw spoilers for who the villain was, and I saw spoilers for other things, and I was just like, I can't fucking win. So I just don't like that because I don't want to spoil it for other people.
No, I think the people trying to do that, I think they're just awful people.
They're shitty. Yeah. It's like, you know, people are going to enjoy it, and people don't always have the same means of access that you do to go see things or to go buy tickets to see things. It's like,
people are waiting, you know?
People are waiting, and then you're going to ruin it?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah. But anyway, this creep is, creep. He ends up cutting himself on his hand. He sets a fire up in the van. He
cuts himself with Franklin's knife. I'd throw that damn that knife out the window. Like, just gone. I'm not touching that knife. Who knows? That crazy hitchhiker, I don't know. Maybe maybe he was eating some of the raw meat and had some, I don't know.
Yeah, mad cow disease or something.
I don't know if that's a thing. Is that really a thing?
Yeah, it's a thing.
That's a thing?
Yeah, you can get it.
I can get it?
Yeah.
From what?
A cow.
How?
Well, when a mommy and a daddy love each other. Look, I think if I was cornered in a van with this creep, like I don't know what I'd do. Like you can't really. There's not enough space to like attack him or anything.
They could have kicked him. What are you talking about? Well, Franklin couldn't because.
I think any of them, even then, you're just gonna get him angry. He's gonna try. There's gonna be a physical altercation. Somebody's gonna get hurt. Luckily, they end up dropping him off. You know, after and then he's like kicking the van, smearing blood on it, all this stuff. They finally get to their. No, they stop by a gas station, and this reminded me so much of Cabin in the Woods that we just watched.
Well, you see, the gas station is so infamous because they do it in so many horror movies.
Really?
So everywhere I go, if we're on road trips and we stop by a creepy ass gas station, I'm like, oh, Texas Chainsaw looking ass. Like,
does that happen?
Yes.
How often do you stop by random gas stations?
If I gotta pee, I don't care if it's Texas Chainsaw and I'm about to die. I'm peeing.
You're crazy.
I don't care.
Well, you're still around, I guess.
Still around. I'm the final girl, bitch.
The guy's kind of creepy, but kind of like hesitant. He's like, oh, you don't want to go around messing with stuff. He kind of warns them.
Not in like a. I mean, I think he knew because the our hitchhiker friend, smeared his blood on their van. So I think he deep down knew.
I could see that because I guess
because like a way of communication. Because obviously, spoiler alert, this movie came out fucking forever ago. So
50 years ago,
literally. I mean, it's a family unit working together to kill people.
Yeah, so I guess you're right because even if they stayed there, because he was trying to like just stay here, y'all. Like then all of them would have got probably.
Would you have eaten that barbecue?
No,
I wouldn't have either.
No, I don't eat barbecue, but they enjoyed the barbecue, and I think there's some like insinuation later on that barbecue might be made of something besides pork.
Yes, probably humans.
Yeah, which I heard would taste like chicken.
Well, I'll make you watch another movie that has some cannibalism in it. I'm excited.
I like how you say that, like with a smile, like
because it's a good movie. It's a great movie, and it's insane. So I want to see your reaction to it because it's a newer movie. But
you're
it's great.
Crazy.
But yeah, so they're all traveling. Shit goes awry. They meet this crazy ass hitchhiker, kick his ass out, go to the gas station. Guy's being weird. He's like, I ain't got no gas, bitch, basically. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, shit, we're fucked. But then they're like, oh, let's go to our old house, Franklin. Yeah. Rehash memories. And why? That house is dirty as fuck.
It is. All those daddy long legs in the corner of the room.
My God.
They
can't hurt you.
They still look scary. I don't want them to crawl.
I love daddy. Actually, I don't know. I don't want to tell the story.
What?
As a kid.
What the heck? What's so funny about a spider?
As a kid, because I knew they couldn't hurt me, I would kind of like pull their legs off.
Oh my God, Jeralyn. I don't know why I do this podcast with you. I'm doing a podcast with my future murderer. You're a serial killer.
I would never do that now. I save all of the
That's how it starts, you know? You said, disconnect from society, start hurting small animals.
Okay, but it never progressed more than spiders and like little buggies. But I save all the buggies now.
It resides inside you, waiting to be awoken one day.
Well, when Patrick don't make it wake up.
Oh, yep, you're right.
Kidding. Just kidding.
Everybody
I'm
take it easy with Jeralyn.
I'm a Scorpio. I care about people. I care about people. I care about everyone.
But
you will get stung.
Anyway, I'll try to play it safe.
The daddy long legs, they can't hurt you. So what does it matter?
Yeah, I don't want them crawling on me. Have you ever had a caterpillar crawl on your fingy?
Yeah, it's cute.
What about a tarantula?
I want a tarantula, but my boyfriend's deathly afraid of them, and I want one so bad. They're so cute and fuzzy. I want one.
And you want it to walk on you?
Yes, I want it to be like my little shoulder buddy.
Oh, that sounds awful. It's going to get in your hair.
I would love it. And I'd be like, hello, my little baby.
No.
It'd be my familiar.
I don't like it. I'll get a cat.
I have a cat.
The cat would eat the spider.
No, it wouldn't. I'd make them friends. You can make them friends.
Oh, man, Jeralyn. I love how optimistic you are, you know? But Franklin isn't invited to the party. They're all giggling and laughing upstairs, and Franklin's just trotting around trying to get into the house because nobody pushed him up there or anything, and he gets kind of upset.
Rightfully so, because his friends shitty. That was shitty.
Yeah, they're all pretty shitty.
It's also super hot. So, like, why would he want to just sit in the hot car?
Exactly. So, it's really hot, so a couple of them want to go to a pool.
Yeah.
Or, like, what do they call it? It's not a pool.
Like a swimming hole or something.
Swimming hole is what
creek,
they call it.
I think it was what it
now,
was.
have you ever gone creek stomping?
What do you mean creek stomping?
Stomping.
Oh, creek stomping.
Yeah.
I used to go swim in the creek while my dad went fishing a lot.
Really?
Yeah. I used to swim in the creek all the time. Except for then my fear of thalassophobia.
What's that?
My fear of bodies of water and what lies underneath them. That's when my fear, like my thalassophobia started like coming in, because one day my dad was fishing and he would always kind of like be a little bit ahead of us because he wanted to actually fish, and my brother and I were loud. And one time, he told us to come out to him, but like there was a drop off. Like, so I was standing on this big rock and there was a drop off, and I was like, and to me, I was like, in my kid brain, I was like, what if I'm standing on a gigantic dinosaur head?
That is so funny.
And so then I ran out of the water, and I was like, I'm scared. I'm scared. And it's never gone away since. I'm still really scared of what lies beneath, because we don't fucking know everything that's there.
That's the final frontier, Going down there. There's some scary stuff down there. Jellyfish are down there.
Not in creeks.
Sharks?
No.
Yep. I've never been in a creek swimming, mainly because
I guess it's a southern.
It is a southern thing. You're describing like the perfect vision of here.
It's funny. I used to wear Crocs while doing it.
Really?
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah.
Wow.
I went creek stomping babies.
I don't know how to swim, so I wouldn't be there.
My brother didn't know how to swim at the time. And
can he swim now?
I don't know. We had swimming lessons together, and they held him like a baby the whole time, whereas I was swimming my ass off.
For real?
Like going under the water, like picking up like little rings and stuff that they were.
Would you have your eyes open under the water?
I think I had goggles. But again, we've had this conversation though, where I don't really know how to tread water.
I don't understand.
I don't, because like, okay, so like in the Zelda games, the way that he does is so elegant, and like he's treading water and he's just like moving his feet, moving his hands. I don't know how to do that. I don't know. I just.
So what do you do?
I just struggle, I guess. I'm like I just keep moving. I don't stop moving, because if I stop moving, I really want to
see that. Next time you guys go to like a pool, I need Patrick to get some footage of you struggling.
That's so rude.
Wouldn't you want to see it?
No, I don't want to see myself struggle.
Oh, okay.
Other people, yes. Me, no.
That's so unfair.
I know.
I almost drowned in a hotel 6 foot deep pool.
What? How? When?
I can't swim. I don't know, 4 years ago. I was on a trip somewhere, and the hotel had a pool.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm learning how to swim. I'm doing it. And I get to the deep end, and the water isn't that far from my head, but I'm just splashing and struggling. Bailey had to grab my arm and pull me out. And keep in mind, it's a hotel public pool, so there's children in the same pool.
They're watching this grown man struggle.
And I'm just okay, cool. I was like, dang. And while it was happening, I was like, wow, this is it, huh?
This is embarrassing.
I kept on wondering, why wasn't anybody else helping me? But Bailey got me out. But I was like, what about everybody else?
You're like, I'm dying. Help. Oh God, it's not funny, but I'm just imagining it.
I was trying my best, because when you're panicking, you don't know what to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, my brother did something really funny as a kid when we were at the creek, and he was like, Daddy, this is the best day ever. And then I guess he slipped on the rock, because the rocks are fucking slippery in the creek.
Yeah, that's right.
And he slipped and fell in the water.
Oh.
And both me and my dad were cracking up, and he got really, really, really mad about us.
I bet, yeah.
But
did he get hurt at all?
No.
Okay, that's
He was
good.
fine. He just got scared because he fell in the water.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a terrible sister. I'm sorry.
It's okay. He forgives you.
No, he doesn't. It's fine.
He remembers.
He probably does remember, but whatever. I don't care. Anyway, this is, by the way, one of my brother's favorite movies. He loves all of these movies. Yeah.
Are you guys similar in the horror movie? Because I don't know, in your family, I know your mother loves these films. Your father does too. But in a horror family, is that the way it goes, or is it usually like one or two?
We all kind of have like our favorite franchises. So like, I mean, we all like multiple franchises, and we all love the movies in general. But I think that we all kind of have like one that we lean more towards.
And this is your brothers.
This is my brothers. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. That's super cool. I think for me, you know, after Franklin goes inside, a couple of them want to go to the swimming hole. He tells, "Oh, they're right down. There's a bath by the old shed or whatever." You know, they never find well, I guess they do find where the swimming hole was, but it's all dried up now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they keep walking around.
And then they're also like making fun of Franklin, which I don't appreciate.
No, they are. But like we said earlier, like they're
shitty.
Yeah, they suck. So they make a bunch of like jokes about him, about his weight, and stuff like that. They end up finding this random house, and I don't know what things were like in the 70s, where you could just like go up and knock on people's houses and then like walk inside. But I would never. I am scared to be on somebody's property.
Right.
But they're like, oh, obviously, you know, we need some help. We'll ask them for some help. They have some gas.
Hello.
And they keep knocking. If people come to my house and nobody answers after the first knock, leave. Like, even if I'm there, it probably means I don't want to answer the door.
Right.
And also text
me. Take a fucking hint. Read the room, not Jerry. Kirk and Pam. Read the room.
Have you ever been in that situation where like the bill collector's coming around and you got to pretend like you're not
bill
home?
Collector?
Yeah.
No.
If you're like late on a lot of bills, somebody comes around trying to get you your money.
No. I just set up payment plans.
Well, good for you. I just meant like growing up, I had that situation happen where my mom would tell us like, okay, everybody turn off all the lights, get in the corner. They're here. Pretend like you're not home.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I don't remember it growing up. I don't know. Some of the things that I remember and don't remember. Who knows?
Just random.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is where we get to the funny part of the movie for me. And I mean funny just like how silly it is. Because, you know, Jerry walks in.
Okay.
And he dies.
That was insane, right? Like we hear pigs squealing and he's like, hello? Hello? Like if I hear that sound, I'm fucking running.
Okay. I wouldn't have even gotten to this house.
I would, yeah,
but
right.
Definitely by the time I got in there and I see all this crap everywhere, and then, you know, like they had like a bunch of boar's heads or something mounted on that wall too. I wouldn't have gone in there at all.
I'm like, what in the hillbilly shit is this?
Exactly. So I would have gone, but they do go in there and we see Leatherface for the first time.
We sure do. And he's big and he's terrifying.
I think his outfit is so iconic.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like, it makes sense that he's so popular as a character because it looks like something that's very memorable. And I do like it a lot.
You could probably dress up as a good Leatherface. You could probably.
I would never.
Why? For Halloween.
No, that's too scary.
That's not too scary.
I'd rather dress up like as a ghost or something. Something, you know, cute.
He does cute Halloween.
I
do scary stuff. Halloween.
The way he dies, though, he just gets bonked on the head.
He gets slaughtered like a fucking animal.
Yeah, but like when he gets got initially, he walks in and then
imagine if they change the sound effects to go back in and it's like bonk.
That's what it basically was. I feel like, and then Pam, you know, gets curious, so she goes inside, and same thing. Like it's so funny.
The way that she gets got, so fun.
Well, I thought that was interesting because we see the hooks. And I'm like, oh, is this where Dead by Daylight got the hook thing from?
Dead by Daylight.
I have never known that. And also, when she got grabbed, I see like a frame of that as a meme on the internet, and I never knew it was from this movie.
Yep.
Until I watched it.
It's amazing. It's just so iconic because like in the way that she's fighting and stuff.
Great performance. Great performance. Like she's really going for it.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing is that even though some of the acting is not necessarily amazing. Like the part where it includes like their fear, them like freaking out and stuff like that, hands down some of the best acting.
I feel really bad for the actress who played Sally. Towards the end, she's one of the last ones to go, and she just screams for.
I think that's the most accurate portrayal of what it would do to somebody.
You think so?
I think so. I think it would traumatize people.
Yeah, but would you be screaming so much? You feel like?
I'd be screaming and crying and throwing up and pissing and shitting and everything.
Do you scream on a roller coaster?
Yes.
Okay.
So loud that people usually tell me that it's really loud.
I remember going to a fair with Bailey and we got on like a ride or something, and she said she forgot how to scream. Like she was really scared, but it was all like internalized because she didn't remember how to let it out.
Have you seen those videos of people on roller coasters where they get so scared they just passed out and then they wake up and they're like, oh my God, I'm so scared again, and then they pass out again?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Those are so funny.
It's a lot of times it'll be like that slingshot one or something where like it goes from 0 to 100. Like
love
really
those.
You've been on one?
Yeah.
No way.
One of them, or maybe like any of the drop down ones. I've been on one that was like it went straight up and straight down at 120 miles per hour.
Why'd
baby.
you do that?
Because I hate myself and I like to be afraid.
And you went on it by yourself?
No.
With who?
That was when I went to Ohio with
a few friends.
Yeah, some friends and Patrick.
Okay, that sounds terrifying.
I was like, why did I sign up to do this? Why did I sign up to do this? And then by the time I got there, I was like, okay. I screamed the whole time. And it was like, it lasted for like 30 seconds.
Would you now, like that was a while ago, would you do it again?
Yeah.
Oh, I could never. That's too much.
I like ones that go like do loops and stuff. I like to be thrown around like a little rag doll.
I'm more of like a teacup ride kind of guy. Like
Don't make me want to throw up.
Really?
Because I don't like being dizzy. Like, I don't know. I think it was from not eating the other day, but I was so dizzy.
Yeah.
Because it was just like a few hours between eating. I was so dizzy. I like put something above my head, and when I moved, I was like, oh my God, I felt drunk, and I was like, I don't.
Oh, is that
like
what it's like to be drunk?
That plus my stupidity, and I'm like, I got that liquid courage, so I think I'm funny. Mm-hmm. So I'm like sly, making jokes, and they probably ain't that funny.
Maybe they are. Do people laugh?
Probably laugh at me, if I'm being honest.
But who doesn't do that just regularly, you know?
Right, you know?
Now, the thought of being like on a hook like that is so painful. Like I could not imagine being held up by a hook in my back.
Oh my God, no. I would literally just go ahead and like kill me then. Just physically, just literally chop my head off.
And right in front, well, that's what happens to her boyfriend. Like right in front of her, you know.
He doesn't get killed that way though, but he does get chopped up that way. There's only one person actually who gets killed by chainsaw in this movie.
Who's that?
Franklin.
Now, we're gonna be talking about all the deaths. You know, we've covered Pam and
Kirk is his name?
The denim guy.
Yeah, Kirk.
Okay, denim man. You know, they get caught. And the funny thing to me is this is how like 3 people in a row go. Mm-hmm. It's like he walks in there, dies. She walks in there, dies. The whole like middle part of this movie is just people walking into a house and then they die.
It's just crazy.
Isn't very creative. And I think ultimately the guy's just protecting his property. People keep trespassing, like walking right into the house.
So you're telling me.
I mean, I wouldn't walk in there. And if somebody came in here, you know, right, it was running around, you didn't even find them just walking into your door. You found them in your kitchen or something. It's a man. You wouldn't feel threatened by him?
Okay, I'm always threatened by men. So
exactly.
Yeah, but
and so you would want to, you know.
Okay, I have dreams about intruders, so yeah, I would probably be freaked out.
Yeah. So this man is just, you know, worried about what's going on.
But like I've also had dreams that like I've had intruders in my house that I've killed. And then, like, I didn't tell anybody.
You're going down a dark... You're taking the legs off of spiders, and then now...
It was a dream. I can't control my dreams.
Fantasies of murder.
Not fantasies. Not
hiding.
fantasies.
It was not what dreams are.
I was so anxious, and when I woke up, I thought it was real. I was like...
So you had hidden a body.
Yeah, in my trunk, of all places. Because I like, jokingly will measure things by how...
What? Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. I will jokingly measure things. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's big enough. I could fit so many bodies in there. Like, my trunk probably could fit
You're on
5
some
bodies.
list. You're on
I could
some
probably
FBI
fit 5
list.
bodies in my trunk, guys. But I would never do that. I'm just telling you.
Now, when you woke up from this murder fantasy, did you... Well, I just want to know the scenario with, like...
Okay.
Do you trust the people in your life to keep the secret? Or are you like, oh, they're going to turn me in? So, like, would you tell Patrick, like, hey, you got to help me?
If I tell him, then he's an accomplice. So if he turns me in, he knew first, so he's an accomplice. So he's going down with me, babe.
What do you think? So that's Bonnie and Clyde. What do you think he would react though? Would he be like, okay, Jeralyn, you got to turn yourself in?
I don't know.
Do you trust him enough to tell him then? Or do you keep it from him?
I'd probably keep it from him. I probably keep all these deep dark secrets away from people. Like, I can't tell.
Well, I hope there's not a body in your trunk currently right now.
I'm just kidding. There's nothing in there. I literally have like a crowbar just in case. What?
Okay.
A crowbar. It came with my like spare tire tool stuff.
Okay. That makes sense. I just keep thinking in the context of a horror movie. The crowbar's dangerous.
But also, I work in a very dangerous place sometimes, and I'm a woman who walks alone to my car at night. So if I need something speedy quick on my little key fob, I got a trunk open button. I can do that and be like whap with my.
You gotta figure it out. I would do the same thing if I was like in high school. It's like somebody came into the classroom.
Yeah.
I would think about like, okay, in my head, I'm always the hero. Like if somebody like bursts into the classroom with a gun.
Don't be a hero.
When I was a high schooler, I would think, okay, how do I take him down? Like I would do this. I would grab this. I would throw a pencil in his eye. It would stick right in, and then and then I'd jump on him. I like that. Like after Pam and who is it, Kirk?
Pam and Kirk, yeah.
After Pam and Kirk, the next gentleman to meet his fate is Jerry.
Yeah.
Now, this is at the point of the movie where I decided that his fate is fire. Because, he's going through the woods and Sally, Franklin are back at the house. Jerry's going to go look for him. How does Jerry end up?
Jerry ends up... Oh my God, it was so funny actually. So he's like walking around the house. He goes full into wherever Pam and Kirk are stored, and he hears like giggling, which is creepy.
Who's giggling?
It's probably Leatherface.
Oh, okay.
But the giggling at first sounds really feminine, but then it starts to sound like a man imitating a woman. Like, can you do an imitation of a giggle? Like that. It kind of starts sounding like that after a while. So then it's like, okay, what's happening? And then, so he goes all the way in there, and then he hears like a scream or something, or he hears something in the deep freeze. He opens it, finds his friend. She goes and like sprawls herself out.
Yeah. What is that, rigor mortis, you think?
I don't know.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Rigor mortis would be like, wouldn't it just be them like getting like tough in like their body?
I don't know, because surely she had to be dead, or else something would have happened. Like I assume she was already killed, and she's just being preserved or something.
Well, yeah, he likes to use the skin and make masks. And shit.
So I think it was just like her body reacting or something.
To eat.
Ew.
It reminds me of that TikTok sound.
Her legs were cut off.
No. To eat it? Yeah, to eat it. Oh, you don't think so? She put her poodle one time in a microwave oven to eat it? No. You've never heard?
No.
You've never heard? Tell me you guys have heard it. Okay, anyway.
Probably another fantasy you had. Making it up.
I am not psychotic.
Sounds believable.
No, so then poor Jerry is in there, and he's like, oh my God, my friend. And he's kind of like freaking out, but he doesn't really have a lot of reaction time or time to freak out at all. And then Leatherface, what does he do to him?
I think he gets bonked too.
He probably does get bonked.
Yeah, Leatherface is a bonker, and it's
He's
a
like,
one shot kill. Like that's all it takes.
Well, I mean, Sledgehammer and a man of that size. That's a big guy.
Big fella.
Big fella, tall, like just big. Like he could be like a football player, like humongous.
I feel like this movie goes by pretty quickly. I think
it does.
I think something about it being older too. I don't think it's very long. I think it's like an hour and a half or something.
Yeah, roughly an hour and 40.
And I think there's not too much plot to it. It's really just we meet our friends, and then they all get bitten off one by one by going into this house, leaving Sally and Franklin back at the car.
Oh my God, and they are freaking out, and like Sally's like done with his shit, and there's so much happening.
You're right. I really like that part because they're kind of bickering.
Yeah.
And he's like Sally, and she's like, what now? And he's just like, oh, nothing.
Never mind.
Yeah.
And I guess trying to fish for her to maybe like be like, okay, what is it?
Have you ever done that?
Yes, I have. Who hasn't? We're humans. Of course
I
we do
it
that
all the time. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, never mind. I don't. Just forget it. It's fine.
Dude, you're lying and gaslighting. God damn.
It's called girl boss.
Oh, okay. New word for it, huh?
Yeah. I'm actually a girl failure. It's fine. But yeah, they're bickering, and it's so funny. And like at one point, like like Franklin says I don't remember exactly what he says, but he says something.
They can't find his knife. He's like, after Jerry's been gone for a minute, he's like, oh, I'm sure they'll come back in a minute or two. Mm-hmm. And then, because he does not want to go out there.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. Franklin was freaking out, and then he's like, are you mad at me? It's me.
You say that?
Yeah.
Why do you say it, do you think?
I don't know, because like I feel like people are mad at me and people hate me and don't want me to thrive. So then I'm like, hey babe, we okay? Like, are we good?
I like the idea of you saying it like that. And what does he say?
I usually am like, hey, are you mad at me? And he's like, no. And he says it all frustrated. And then I'm like, okay, but you sound mad. And then it just like keeps going.
That's classic sitcom. I really like that. That's funny.
Yeah, it is. My voice is going out. It's fine.
I think Franklin's being pretty optimistic, but ultimately they end up going into the woods with the flashlight.
Rip Franklin.
And he goes so suddenly. And here's the thing. There isn't like this movie. I feel like it's very horrifying, but the kills are like in a second. Mm-hmm. Like Jerry gets bonked on the head. Yeah. Kurt gets bonked on the head.
Right.
And then Franklin just out of nowhere gets chainsawed. And it only lasts for like 3 seconds and that's it. Yeah. Now we moved on.
You know what's crazy is I wrote it down, but this is actually true. I observed this when I was watching it as well. This is noted as one of the least bloody horror films of all time.
That makes sense.
There's not a lot of blood.
There's not a lot of blood. Anything with the chainsaw is very like, you don't see it happening. It's usually like you see like the vagueness of it.
Well, I mean, there are also like so many laws that people had to like follow as far as filmmaking goes back in the day. So, I mean, it is what it is. But I know that like, it's just such a contrast from like the movies that we have been watching with Evil Dead.
Oh my gosh. I mean, Evil Dead is just full. Like that's all Evil Dead is.
And I love it. That's really funny though, because some people have complained online about Evil Dead Rise and they're like, oh, the blood looks so fake. There's so much of it. And I'm like, have you not
seen any of the Evil Dead movies?
Yeah. It's so funny because I'm like, shut up. You know nothing.
Yeah. I'm sure you appreciate blood, guts, and gore, but
I do.
I like the absence of it here. I think something.
I mean, it does add an element of like. I mean, it's all horrifying in general, like the elements, the story that is taking place in general. Because like we don't even know who this guy is. Yeah. He's not really mentioned. I mean, there's just news reports.
Yeah, I think what it does for me, and one of the reasons I appreciate it is because it goes to. I feel like a lot of the times things like jump scares or a lot of blood is kind of used as like a direct like this is scary horrifying kind of way, but this movie doesn't rely on it at like a crutch like some other movies do, and like it's like, oh, we don't even need that, we can scare you just off vibes alone.
But how do you feel about jump scares?
Well, I don't like them.
You don't like them. Do you think that they're like cheap or do they get you?
They get me. They don't. I get scared. Okay, but I also think they're cheap. I'm like, why'd you do that? Like, there's no reason it needed to do that.
Oh, I meant to tell you. Apparently, the director Guillermo del Toro apparently became a vegetarian after seeing this film.
That makes sense. I think they make a pretty good argument for it.
Don't pick up hitchhikers. Don't eat meat that you don't know.
That's right. Yeah. Nice. I'm a big fan of Guillermo del Toro. He's Mexican. I love, I'm Mexican.
Love him. Yeah.
And I love just representation for the culture.
He's amazing.
Yes. Now, Sally ends up being the last person here to get
the final girl.
Everybody else gets captured, killed. Yeah. She's the last one, and she has this long chase. She's
looping the killer, babies. Looping the killer.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, she is too.
It's creepy. I would. Okay. First of all, this woman's stamina. I would not have the strength. I'd probably run for maybe 30 seconds and be like, "Can I give me a break? Just give me a little bit of a break, quick. Just, just really struggling." But she keeps going. But I know that like being afraid would keep someone going.
The adrenaline.
But also like every person's like flight or fight response. I had to struggle there for a second because I didn't want to say our podcast name. The flight or fight like struggle is different per person. And I've already told you, I probably won't put up a fight. Probably won't flight. I'm probably gonna fucking freeze.
That means you'll die.
And I'll die valiantly.
I don't think that's valiant.
That's valiantly for me.
Okay.
Because I'm facing my fear and accepting my fate.
You know,
but like involuntarily because it's my trauma response.
I like the way how malleable that optimism is. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
But you're right. She has a lot of stamina. Unfortunately for her, she ends up running back to the gas station. And I want to say when she first walked in there and saw the guy, when I saw the guy, I was like, oh, he's about to die. And it took, and then like 2 seconds later, I was like, wait, like it like just suddenly dawned on me. He's in on it.
What kills me is like, first of all, I don't want anybody to fucking touch me. And the fact that like she's freaking out and he's like touching all over her made me so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because he's like,
and she
touching all over her face, her neck.
I was so creepy.
Come here. I'm like, fucking
get off me, dog. And also like the whole situation where like suddenly everything's safe. Like she walks in there and it's like she got stopped chasing. I'm like, But yeah,
too good to be true, babies.
Yeah. And it was because he ends up tying her up and taking her back to the house.
Wasn't that insane? What a crazy twist, right?
Honestly, Jeralyn, I'm not gonna lie to you. It was insane. It was such a twist. I cannot imagine if I was in, because I mean, we're watching this 50 years later.
Yeah,
we've seen a bunch of twists, like the best of them. And this one is still like 50 years later, crazy, right? So I could not imagine seeing it when it came out. It would have like just horrified me.
Oh yeah.
And it turned, and then it's not just that. We get a twist too that the what's it called when you pick the hitchhiker from earlier is also part of the family, and like it's all coming together.
It's a family unit,
and they're
the nuclear family.
The way that they end up sitting her at like a table, bringing Grandpa down.
The Grandpa, he's so creepy.
When he was sucking her finger and the blood, they made that last way too long. I
love the close-ups, the awkward close-ups. Sometimes I hate them in movies. It depends on how well they do them. But in this movie, it was done really well when they like zoom in on people's eyes.
Yeah, they do that.
And first of all, her eyes beautiful, beautiful eyes. Marilyn Burns, your eyes beautiful. But the other thing I wanted to say is you could totally see the fear and the torment in her eyes. Like
I think she did a great job.
She did a fantastic job. I mean, I can only imagine. I literally just collapsed. If an old, creepy, decrepit, like ancient corpse-looking grandpa is sucking on my fingers, I'm collapsing.
I bet the actress actually had to do that too. Put her fingers in that guy's mouth.
Okay, it's a prosthetics that he's wearing, so I'm sure he doesn't look like that. But
I don't want to do that. That's so. And then you feel it.
What's funny? His name is John Dugan. He played the grandpa. He said that wearing prosthetics on his face, and he was in the Vietnam War, is what he said, was worse than that. It was the worst time of his life. Putting prosthetics on his face.
I've heard horror stories about prosthetics and how so much it sucks.
But I mean, I've worn prosthetics. They're not that fucking bad. I don't understand it.
Maybe it was for the time though. This was 50 years ago.
That's true. That's true. Now you have so many different like options and stuff that you can make it breathable and everything. Yeah. But then again, I haven't been in like full body prosthetics. I haven't. Really? No, I've not.
Could you imagine?
Yes, I could, and I
crazy.
very well could do it. I think.
I could not. That seems like a lot. But yeah, she gets got. They're sitting at the table. I think the father figure of it all is so like interesting. Because, Leatherface is like a child in the way that his father treats him. Yeah. He's like, hits him, he's reprimanding him, and he's so much bigger than him, but he still takes like...
the guy who plays Leatherface is Gunnar Hansen. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he's passed away now, which R.I.P. Gunnar Hansen, if you are. If not, hello, Gunnar
Now, he might be alive just because I know that the gentleman that played the Leatherface in one of these films came to our town recently.
I'm going to have to look it up really quickly just to make sure. I don't want to tell people incorrectly and then people be like, dumb bitch, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's so stupid. Because everyone likes to say that I'm stupid online.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did die in 2015.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Gone but never forgotten. What a legend.
He apparently... chose that the character was going to be mentally disabled.
Oh, is that
it was a choice done by Hanson. They kind of gave him free reign on the character of Leatherface. He went to a school to observe to make his performance as non-offensive as possible as well. So he didn't really have a lot of like speaking parts. It was more like just making reactions noises and stuff. But it makes you feel bad as well for the character. There's like some humanity. Like there's
something endearing about him. Like he's also like a victim of all this.
He doesn't know. Yeah, like he doesn't know what he's doing.
And given the kind of family he was born into, I mean,
who fucking knows? Yeah.
So the dad gets so like, oh, I'm not gonna have any of this. You
damn fool is what he says.
Yeah, nothing about the killing. Like it's not for him. He can't stomach it. But the other brother, the hitchhiker, that actor's performance is also really good.
Oh, fantastic!
Like he does a lot of stuff with his phrase.
Edwin Neal is his name.
He did a great job, I feel like. But he stands up to his dad. He's
that scene was nice.
Yeah, like you're just a cook.
You're just a cook. Me and him do all the work.
Yeah, exactly. So
I was like, get him, hitchhiker. That's all I know his name.
And then he has the idea of getting his grandpa to do the kill on, like, grandpa, you're gonna have this one. And he gives him a hammer, but he can't hold the hammer because he's, an older gentleman.
It'd be me if someone makes me try to kill somebody. I'd be like, no. I just, like a baby, I'd just go limp.
Okay. Well, I like, you're trying to defend yourself for future when you get accused. Like, I couldn't do it. But
I would never.
Yeah.
I would never. Do you hear me? Never.
Well, he can't do it, so eventually she finds, while they're struggling about like who's gonna kill her, she gets out.
Yeah.
She busts through a window. Now I gotta say, I love stunt people.
Yeah.
Everything they do, amazing. 50 years ago though, they got a man to put on a wig that looks nothing like this girl. The girl's hair is like all like voluminous and like big,
beautiful,
bright yellow,
strawberry blonde.
And then he it's because it's a gentleman, jumps out the window and it cuts back to the girl, and I'm like, okay, like I've never noticed stunt people.
Really funny, actually. I love that stuff.
I like it too. I've never noticed it this much, but I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I noticed one finally.
Oh my god, you'll notice it in so many of like the older horror movies.
Really?
Yes, it's so funny. Or like when they change things out for dolls, like for example in like Evil Dead, like I mentioned, when he was like hitting the Deadite in the face in the Evil Dead. Like at one point it changed and it was a doll. And I told you about that and you were like, oh, I didn't even notice. And I was like, no, for sure it was a doll. It was hilarious. That kind of stuff happens all the time in horror movies. But I
like it. I there's something charming about it. I don't know what it is, but I do enjoy.
It's fun.
The little like
the cheap that's all they had kind of thing.
Yeah, DIY kind of aspect.
Yeah. That scene that I really liked in particular before like we moved towards the end of it was when they're all sitting around the table and she's screaming like, ah, and then they all are like mimicking her. They all
start screaming.
It is so funny, and it had no reason to be, but it's also scary.
I kind of get it. I think what they're doing is like make all the noise you want.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna hear you. Like here, we'll even scream with you.
It's so like, I mean, if I were in that situation, I would be terrified.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
Come on.
But also like, it's just as an outsider just watching this movie happen, like hilarious. It's a hilarious scene.
It kind of reminds me of that scene from Evil Dead 2 where like the lamp starts laughing and then he starts laughing. But in that one, it's funny and he's going crazy. And this one, like I'm sure you're laughing because it's like a little silly to you.
It's a little bit silly just because like their performance is like so good as well. But they're all like, oh, like making fun of her to her face.
It lasts a little too long for me. Like,
it does, but it's also, I think it was kind of funny though. I liked it.
But yeah, this is kind of the end of the movie. It's the last sprint where it's daytime now outside. And, she's running away. She gets to a road.
They try to get her, the last kills in. Oh, my God.
Yeah, and I think this is so, like the movie's all, like, gone all bonkers at this point. And there's, a big truck coming along.
Yeah.
And she dodges a truck, but the hitchhiker doesn't. And he gets run over.
Yeah.
And when he gets run over, he gets, like, absolutely disintegrated. Like, this would not happen in real life, but, like, he turns into, like, a bunch of chunks, basically.
Love that.
She gets away because another car ends up pulling up, and I want to ask you.
Okay.
If you saw this scenario, 3 people in the middle of the road, and you're driving in that road, the girl's trying to wave you down for help. Do you stop?
I don't know.
You don't know?
What would you do? You tell me first.
I would try my best.
But like, you run the risk of being killed.
Yeah, but I mean, it's somebody
like,
else.
Okay, I didn't get to tell you this story, but I'm going to tell you the story because I was going to save it for when we watched another Dead End special movie.
Let me know.
I'm just going to go tell you. Okay, so I ain't getting myself involved in nothing. Nothing. So the other day I was driving to work and I was running a little bit behind.
Okay.
I was at the stoplight about to turn.
All right.
But there were some cars in front of me and I'm not entirely sure what happened. I don't have the full context. There was a motorcycle rider in front of me. So we're going to call him the motorcycle man.
Okay, motorcycle man.
Car in front of him, white van.
All right.
So we're at the stoplight. The light's about to turn green, and then it does turn green. Guy in the white van gets out of his car, comes and starts like talking to the guy in the motorcycle, using his arms like.
Oh wow!
And I'm in my car like.
What's going on? It's happening right in front of me.
Yeah, right.
I wish I had a dash cam.
Right, I should have taken a video of it.
Yeah.
I should have taken a video of it. I would have gone viral. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But so this happened, and then the motorcycle man's like pointing at the light, like, "Hey, it's turned green," kind of thing. Okay. I didn't hear anything happen because I didn't roll my windows down because I wasn't trying to be that nosy.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because I do have some boundaries where I don't like violence, and it was just like a sticky situation, and I don't want to get myself involved in any fucking capacity because I'm not trying to have that directed towards me.
Exactly.
And so I was just watching this unfold, and I'm like, what is happening? And so he's like, "Oh, green," and so so then he goes around the guy because the guy won't move because he's still like in his face talking to him.
Right.
The guy in the white van punches him in the face, in the side of the face. Yeah, doesn't hit the helmet. He hits him in the face.
Wow.
And so then guy drives up to the front of the light, does this little kickstand thingy, gets off, and then guy like runs back in his white van. White van tries to go, like to drive, and then motorcycle man goes and like gets right in front of his, right in front of it. And I was
what
like,
are you doing here? Like, once you see all this happening,
I did not. I stayed where I was. I did not move a single centimeter. I was terrified. I was like, what is happening? But of course, you know me, and you've seen me in situations where violence has ensued.
No, Jeralyn.
I was laughing my fucking ass off.
Why are you like this? Why are you laughing? If they see you laughing, don't you think they're gonna get mad?
They were too far ahead, and I did not move.
Gosh,
so then the car behind me, though, like the passenger. So here's like there's the driver and the passenger gets out, and he's like saying something. He gets out, and he's like trying to be some sort of peacemaker, and I'm like, don't be a fucking hero. Get back in your car, my guy. Get back in your car, my guy.
That is so scary.
Yeah, and then eventually the light turns green again. White van goes straight, like through the light, and goes straight, and then motorcycle man follows him, and I'm like, yeah, take this shit somewhere else. I'm trying to get to work, my guys. Oh my gosh,
were you going straight too?
No, I was turning right. Okay. I was like, I'm just trying to go to work.
I wonder what ended up happening.
I hope. Well, okay. First of all, motorcycle man should press charges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assault.
He fucking decked him too. I was like, like I literally like had a like a gasp like that.
That's too much.
Yeah.
Now, what is your experience with like that kind of situation? Have you ever gotten road rage? I feel like you get angry.
I do get angry.
Yeah.
When I'm driving, yes, particularly, I say really, really terrible things.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what? Like slurs?
No, not slurs.
Just like a bunch of curse
words? I call people
words?
fucking idiots all the time.
Okay.
But I always say things like, I hope you get a flat tire.
Oh my god.
I hope you get inconvenienced, but you're safe.
Okay. That's not
like
bad.
I hope, I don't know. Hope you get in really bad traffic, or...
Have you ever been the cause of road rage, do you feel like? Has anybody ever like honked at you or yelled at like, get off the road or anything like that?
Yes. It's been both ways. It's probably both ways for everybody.
Are you a patient driver?
No, I'm an impatient person, so I'm an impatient driver.
Okay.
Like especially if people are like taking their sweet ass time to like turn and stuff, I'm like, fucking go!
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a very patient driver. I'm a very patient person. But the only times I get upset is if somebody does something so wrong that they're about to hurt me. They're about to hit my car or something. That's the only. Like, I don't care if people are if traffic. I like sitting in traffic. I don't mind waiting for people to turn or whatever. But if somebody is like just like getting into my lane and they didn't see me there.
Oh, that's happened to me before. It was
I don't
scary
like that.
as fuck.
It's scary, yeah.
Because like when I was a new driver and I had my old car Tina. You know my old car Tina. I was driving and then this white car did not see me at all. They started getting over, so then I started getting over and I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, honk.
Yeah,
And then I was like, what the fuck?
It's scary.
It is scary.
Yeah, you gotta. In those situations, you have to think quickly.
And it's hard when you're not like a defensive driver or offensive. I don't know what the
offensive driver.
I don't know.
Get out of my way, or I will push you out of it.
Well, I found like a bunch of stickers that I want to put on my car. Like it's like a, please let me merge, bestie.
That's funny. I like that a lot.
Because I'm so like.
You're scared of merging?
I'm scared of driving.
I'm sorry. It is a scary thing.
Because people, I can't control people, but I can only control me, and that's the scary thing. Is
and
like,
when you have a long commute, you're just in those situations way more often, like merging and
because
like,
nobody wants to let you over, and I'm like, my guy,
I gotta work together.
Yeah, or we're gonna both die. I mean,
option A, option B, you pick.
I'm getting over one way or the other.
But yeah, I would stop by and help Sally. I would try. Don't get me wrong. If I see danger coming my way, I try to. Good luck, but
Deuces.
Fortunately for her, she gets away. So and then I really like also this outfit that Leatherface is wearing for the end of this movie.
Oh, the pretty woman mask.
He's wearing that, and he's wearing like a suit. Mm-hmm. And I really like it. I don't know if there's any kind of like meaning behind that. Like I do like that it's like a woman's mask and like with women's hair.
He wears them like different personalities kind of thing. Like he has different personalities for the different masks. At least that's what is portrayed. He has a killing mask in this movie, an old lady mask. Because at one point when he's wearing this old lady mask, he has like a wooden spoon. And he looks very like domestic, like housewife kind of thing. And then he's wearing this pretty woman mask towards the end. Which first of all, my brother owns this mask. It's an amazing mask. I wish I could bring it. I'll try to bring it for the next one.
I think I really like it. And the one thing I wanted to mention is I love the movie ends very abruptly. If I'm being honest, there's no like aftermath or like is Sally okay now? What ends up happening to Leatherface's brother and dad? Like do they get caught? It just ends with Leatherface doing this dance, like with the chainsaw. And I like it a lot. I love this like little dance sequence at the very end.
He's so fun. I love his character a lot. Obviously, not that the fact that he's killing people, but I think it's just
there's something charming about him.
There's just a fun. He's just unhinged, is what he is.
Yeah,
and I like it.
It works on a lot of levels where like he's an interesting character, and you do kind of feel for him in the situation he's been put in.
Yeah.
So I think as for a killer, he's like. Yeah, one of my favorites. I like him more than Ghostface for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean Ghostface does a lot of the taunting, but also it's usually this is one man doing all of this. All of this. I mean, there's also a family unit tied to it, but
it's mostly him.
Mostly him, and he's the one. He's basically the only one bringing the bread home, kind of thing. Like
I enjoyed this movie.
I'm excited. I'm
actually excited to see the next one.
Okay, so the next one came out in like the 80s, so it's
a while.
It's a bit of a jump.
Okay.
But
I wonder what they're gonna do.
So this one, guys, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is available. We watched it on Prime Video, but it's through Freevee, so there are ads, but you can watch it for free with ads.
I watched it on Peacock without any ads. So go watch it there instead.
Oh, okay. Go do that, I guess. But so yeah, we can't really do any ranking because this is the first in the franchise.
Yeah, it's gonna stand by itself for now.
It's gonna stand by itself. But what did you think overall?
I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was very horrifying. Like I said, it has a lot of elements that scared me without the use, like you said, of any blood or anything like that. So I really enjoyed it and liked all the characters in it. I thought all the characters were scary. The hitchhiker, the dad, and Leatherface, they all brought their own like different element of scary. And I think there is a psychological element to this as well about like, wow, like the family in this, like a whole group of people into this, as well as like the twist that we have when you realize that is so like, wow, what the heck is happening? The only negative things I have to say about this movie is that there isn't a lot of plot, that you don't get to know the characters very well. However, I do think I really liked Franklin.
Yeah.
I think it's unfortunate that Franklin didn't get really like any kind of Like if I wanted any of them to make it after this movie, it wouldn't be Sally for me. It would have been Franklin.
Yeah, you don't really get to know Sally at all.
No,
like,
so
there's not really any bit of caring that I have towards her other than she's a human and I don't want most humans to die.
Yeah, same. And I like the color of her shirt.
Yeah.
But I would have had Franklin make it.
Yeah. Or Jerry with his cool ass outfit.
Yeah.
With his cool ass outfit. Cool
cat. So overall, I really like the film.
Yeah, I also agree. I really enjoyed the film. I like the fact that you could probably show this to a younger audience now, and it does not have anything super duper inappropriate because, like I said, most horror films want to show nudity, want to show sex, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So this one doesn't do that. It's really modest in that way. But I mean, the graphics in general, the idea of being chased and stuff, and the bones and what it alludes is terrifying in general. But it's if you wanted to introduce your children to, because
if you're like Jeralyn and like
I'm conditioning the fuck out of my kids. What do you mean? If you like want to show your kids this, I recommend that you do, but maybe probably around the age of like 10 or 11.
Yeah, or at like least 17, 18.
No, that's way too old. I saw it when I was young and I turned out fine.
Yeah, sure, yeah, totally.
I actually saw a table, like one of my customers the other day, one of her children had like a ghost face temporary tattoo on. And I was like, wow. Oh, I love your temporary tattoo.
You're my type, yeah.
And I was like, ghost face, huh? Is your favorite? He was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, family, we're conditioning the kids. And they were like, yes. And I was like, I love it. We love little horror fans.
That's cool. I think that's a common experience, like across a certain kind of people.
Yeah.
I definitely don't have that experience, but you and your family are definitely the horror family, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will do it for years to come. So, I enjoyed the movie. The only complaint I had was that some of the acting could have been a little bit better, but again, with the time, that's all you got. I would have loved more gore. That's another complaint that I have, I guess. But we get plenty of it in the
I was going to say, I feel like we're probably going to get some eventually, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
So I'm kind of good there, but other than that, I think just the idea that the friends were shitty to their wheelchair, their friend in the wheelchair, like, that was shitty.
Yeah.
Do better. Be better allies.
But yeah, I think that just about wraps it up, unless you have anything else.
Nope. We'll see you for Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2.
Yeah, I'm really excited. See you guys next time.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Fright or Flight, a Live Oaks Village production. This episode was hosted by Jeralyn Johnson and Saul Alberto Arzmendi Ochoa. Edited by Jeralyn Johnson and music composition by Saul Alberto Arzmendi Ochoa.